Now, one of the things we don't like, we don't want to deal with history. Now, John Azuma from Uganda, I believe, he said, history is the mistress of our lives. We must take history very seriously if we're to look to the future. The word mistress comes from the word maestra, which means master, means a woman who rules others or controls something. A school teacher. He's not using it as a woman who is just living with a man, not married to her. He's saying this is a woman who's in control. And he's saying history actually is the controlling factor of what goes on around us. And if we don't understand it, we will not be able to look to the future. So we don't necessarily want to know I don't want to know what happened back there. You better find out what happened back there. Because if you don't know what happened back there, they can do it again and you'll think it's the first time. See? So we must eschew, get rid of all forms of externally anchored racial and cultural chauvinism, regardless of its source. In other words, we ought not be putting anybody up on a pedestal because of their color. Nobody. Now, how has witchcraft worked in that? Witchcraft has to do with sorceries and witchcraft. But let me go back over here to Revelation real quick and take a quick look at something in Revelation 18. Revelation chapter 18. And it's talking about Babylon. Look at verse 1. I said, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen and become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and receive of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. He said, now, this thing has done so wickedly that her sins have reached unto heaven. And I'm getting ready to judge this thing. Now, notice he said she's fallen and she's become the habitation of devils and all this other kind of stuff. That means that the nation is still going on, but spiritually she's fallen. So now all these demonic forces have invaded her. Now, if these demonic forces have invaded her and they're all over the place, then what chance do you have of keeping yourself straight if you don't know the truth? How often can they come and influence you? How often can they tell you, because they don't want you well, that you'll never make it, that you're going to die with this sickness or disease? How often do they come to you and tell you that you'll never get over this sexual lust, that you'll never get a better job? How often do they lie to you if this place is full of it and tell you that the agendas that Babylon is putting forth is God's agenda? Tell you that, well, homosexuality is all right. No, it's not. But God is not going to destroy people because they do it. When Josiah, when he was cleaning up Israel, it said that he tore down the houses of the Sodomites that were connected to the temple. You know what he did? He didn't kill a single homosexual. He just wouldn't let the house or the way they did things be connected with the house of God and the way he did things. That's all he did. He didn't kill anybody. The church is not supposed to hate anybody. We're just not supposed to let things from a different house operate in this house. But we do, so therefore we're being deceived through a spirit of witchcraft. And if somebody in your family is like that, that's how the devil really gets you tied up in that. Because they say, well, you know, I love my child. I love my child too, but I got to keep them in a place that they don't think that they're all right with the living God in a lifestyle that is impure. That's why you have to have yourself pure. How are you going to tell somebody else not to do something and you doing? You see, there has to be a purging and a cleaning of us. You all are either listening this morning or I'm freaking y'all out. But see, I got to take you somewhere now. Now, he said, Babylon, your sins. What other nation has the power to influence all the nations? Nobody but America. People say, oh, well, America's not in the Bible. Yes, she is. She's in there by description, not by name. She's called Babylon, the daughter of her mother, and her mother came out of Europe, which is England. So this is where you live. So you're here in Babylon. And he said, come out of her, my people. That doesn't mean I leave America. That means I get the witchcraft off my mind and stop operating up under a system that is controlling me so that I can't find my way out of a paper bag. Our children are being deceived every day through witchcraft. Let me show you. Look at this real quick. He said, verse 23, and the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and all that was slain upon the earth. You do realize that because of the sorceries that we operate in, murder is taking place and is being twisted to make you think that you're not seeing what you're seeing. You see, now, let me show you a little bit of sorcery. What is sorcery? Pharmakeia, medication, magic, witchcraft, poisoning. It actually means deceptions and seductions of idolatry. So when he said she's full of sorceries, let me give you a little piece of witchcraft. We can go back over to Exodus chapter 4 and look at where Yahweh told Moses, said, Moses, put your hand in your bosom and pull it out. And when he did, he pulled out his hand and it said it was leprous, white as snow. That's Exodus verses about 5 and 6. He said, now, put it back in and take it out. When he took it out, it was back to its natural color. That's one scene you didn't see in Cecil B. DeMille's 10 Commandments. You didn't see that one. Why? Because the hand has to be dark or colored if it's going to be pulled out white. Charlton Heston couldn't put a white hand in and then pull a white hand out with leprosy on it. Do you see the witchcraft? That is the game that was played. You saw Rodney King be beat. They made you believe that the man was threatening the police with 6 policemen around them, beating him to death. The man had no gun, no nothing, but the witchcraft made you think he was doing something. You do understand that the witchcraft is operating. Listen, I was standing on the porch yesterday. Guy came down the street, had his rap music playing, and I said, I will be dog. When I hear them off a distance, it's the same sound. When you hear it off a distance, it's the same. It's the same thing. I said, Lord, look at that programming. They are being programmed to think in a particular zone. They don't even understand the strength of their minds. Their minds are being narrowed down to a little concept. When I came along in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the 70s was the most dynamic and diverse of all the decades because there was so much different music, you didn't know what to like. Now you got one style and everybody thinks the same way, doing the same stuff because the magic, the sorcery has been put in the music. And they can't find their way out. And now, if you don't give them a particular style of music, they can't enjoy it. And I can enjoy all of it. Country and Western. I can enjoy jazz. I can enjoy some of the rap when I can understand what it is and my nose ain't bleeding. Stuff is so loud, your eardrums stop bleeding. I like some of all of it. But see, you are in a place of sorcery has been used on you if you can't hear but one thing. If you can't hear nobody but Bill O'Reilly, you are up under witchcraft. If you can't hear anybody but Sean, you're under witchcraft. If you don't understand that God is bigger than all of this stuff, you're under a spirit of witchcraft. And it said, Babylon, you have been given over to sorceries. Sorcery. In Webster, it means the lot or fate. The supposed use of an evil supernatural power over people and their affairs means to enchant. So, when somebody has you under a spell, that means that they have a control over you, and they can literally play a particular song or snap their fingers, and you respond to what they say. Because you don't have the Ruach HaKodesh in a clean place in you, and you really do not understand how to let him govern your own life. You only do what everybody else tells you. You only think what they tell you to think. Would you think that part of our educational system is witchcraft? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is witchcraft. I've looked at some things from other countries, and these people have an ability to know, okay, this child has a gifting in this, but they got a problem over here. So what they do, they continue to accentuate that gifting because they know it's going to help that child's self-esteem while they work on this problem. In America, witchcraft says they got a problem, and because they're the wrong color and they're not over here, and I don't care what their gifting is, give them a drug to dumb them down. That's witchcraft. That's sorcery. That's controlling somebody else because you too cotton picking, lazy, and caught up in yourself and racist to deal with the problem that can be dealt with because you don't like these people because somebody has programmed you to say, all these little black boys about third grade, they're going to jail. You see, that's witchcraft. That's been programmed. That's been put in folk, and we are following that stuff. And then if you work in the school system and you try to do something to turn that thing around, you become the target of more witchcraft. Now they tell everybody they got a problem. I don't know who they think, yeah, they can't save the world, but I could save this child if you get your nasty hands out of it. I could do something. You see, it's witchcraft. It is sorcery that we're operating in. We do it in church. It's all over. You see, we say, well, no, we're fine. Racial profiling is witchcraft. It is programming the mind for supernatural purposes to bring about something that is damaging to somebody else. That's witchcraft. It's on TV. It's on the radio. It's on the cell phone. Your children have it in little earplugs, listening to stuff that's telling them to rebel against you. And then when you decide to pop them and they got your fingerprints on the side of their face, here comes DSS operating in witchcraft to say, you shouldn't do that, we're going to take this child. The whole thing is sorcery. That's what it is. And our children are so lost in it. Listen, when we rebelled and decided to say stuff against our parents, I lived in Goldsboro. I went to Wilson and said it. I drove all the way to Wilson and said, Mama make me sick. I didn't say it in front of my mom. That's witchcraft, and that thing gonna kill you with your crazy self. Oh, you better get out Monday that you better get them demons off of you. We're gonna pray some demons off of you today. We're gonna preach some off of you, then pray some off of you. God, this thing has got to break. This thing has got to change. we're operating in sorcery. Babylon taught us that. They taught us that. Our parents didn't tolerate sorcery and witchcraft. They tell you in a minute, hey, you stay away from them. Don't you go over there around them. Because they ain't got no order in their life. I better not catch you with so-and-so and so. And if they caught you, they stop the car, knock you out, and push you in the car bleeding and take you home. Won't go take you to no hospital. I told you with your little bloody nose self, don't be over there around them. They bust your nose and take you home and stuff their fingers up your nose and say, you'll be all right. You see, they didn't put up with witchcraft, but see, these little Negroes, these little white boys and girls, they have been too caught up with watching stuff on TV. And see, it was back in the 80s when the witchcraft started to demonize mamas and daddies. It did. They started, I remember, I can't remember what it was, but it was Urkel and whatever that show was. Well, see, the first time I heard it and he called the daddy Carl, I was sick. It made me sick. I knew what that was doing. It was witchcraft to get our children to the place. My children are grown. They still call me daddy. My grandchildren, Papa. You let one of them call me Dennis. When I finish grabbing him round the neck, you better call DSS, because I'm going to grab the DSS round the neck, because that witchcraft ain't going to operate. See, this stuff makes me so mad I'm about to cuss. But we're under a spell, folk. We're under a spell and don't see it. And this thing keeps right on playing with us. You see, let me show you one of the biggest systems of witchcraft on the planet. When they gave you a picture of Jesus that didn't sound and look like the Bible. That was witchcraft. Yes, for me to take a picture of black Jesus, if he wasn't black, and take it to a white nation, that's witchcraft. Because what have I done? I have now bewitched so that I can charm or fascinate somebody. That's witchcraft. So that I can attract you to something and charm you and fascinate you. So they put so much sex on TV, you're charmed by it. Now let me tell you about that demon. If that demon has been in your family and you looking at this stuff and you caught up, if mom and daddy got into it when they were 16 or 17, you want to get into it when you 10 or 11. That thing gets worse and worse every time. All right, now, I'm noticing a couple of you children, you better sit up and act right now. I ain't going to put up with that spirit in here. You stop that. I ain't going to have it. Because you're being defiant. And I'm not going to put up with that. So don't even look at me. Quit chewing your gum like I don't mean anything. Don't play with me in here. You got the wrong one today. So stop it. And I mean it right now. Because that demon ain't going to operate. So give it up. Because I ain't going to have it. Go sit. See, that's witchcraft. You ain't going to sit up here and defy me. No, I'm sorry. You ain't got no business defying your parents either, because that's witchcraft. You better stop it, because nobody wants to preach your funeral. But see, he said, you honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God gives you. You're supposed to honor your parents so you can live. And land means you get blessed. When you dishonor your parents, you get cursed. You can't do that. And folks, I don't mean to be mean, but I ain't going to take certain things. I just ain't going to take it. So y'all better straighten them out. Better get them under control. Because we ain't going to put up with that. You're not going to sit in here with that defiant demon. Because I know what it is. And I don't mean to be harsh, but it's time for this mess to stop. Time for it to stop. Now, commercials. They advertise stuff. And many and most of them are witchcraft. When they use the female body That is enchantment. That's enchantment when they put the female body on everything. And let me tell you how that thing works. Now, what it does, it enchants the male. And if they have the body looking just right, it enchants the female to want to look like that. So now she's up under some kind of delusion that she can look like that when her bone structure ain't like that. She ain't gonna never look like that. That is not your bone structure. Your bone structure has made you, you're going to always be this size. And God is so awesome, he made men that like that bone structure just like it is. He ain't even studying that one he saw on TV, because that bone structure in you and what you carry is what attracts him. But now you up under some delusion. Oh, I need to lose weight. I need to go to Nutrisystems. I need to do this. Yeah, you need to exercise some. But you ain't gonna never be that. And everybody ain't looking for that. So now you're beating yourself up trying to be something that you ain't gonna never be. That's witchcraft. Then there are other people out there who don't have their stuff together, and they're enchanted and drawn into sexuality, because sexuality comes from the physical body, whether it be male or female. And because these spirits have been unleashed in this country, they put a female up there, it'll draw just as many women to that perversion as it will men. They put men up there looking buff and whatever. It attracts just as many men to that thing as it does women. You got to see the witchcraft and how this thing is being played. And I hope one day we understand where we live. And we got to do something called seeking his face to get out from under this stuff. Witchcraft is all around us. Advertising is basically witchcraft. Because what they're trying to do is influence you to buy something you don't want nor need. And they put it out there in such a way to get into your subconscious mind. That's how they have psychologists that work for the advertising companies to put things in place to get your attention, to get you to buy stuff that you don't need. And see, you need not think it does not work. It does work. That's why we have all of these storage facilities everywhere, because you buy stuff you don't use. Then you go store it somewhere rather than do what the living God said, give to somebody who does not have. So we say, well, I'll keep it. I'm going to use it later. It's been in there. You've been wasting money on that thing for 12 years. It's done sat in there and dry rotted. And you say, well, man, let's throw this away. Somebody could have been using it 12 years ago. So don't tell me we're not up under the witchcraft of this system. It is controlling us. And we do not understand what we are under and what is being done to us. Now, let me show you this over in Galatians, and we're going to wind up. Galatians chapter 3. And he said, O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you, that ye should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Jesus Christ hath been evidently set forth, crucified among you. He said, who has bewitched you? Jesus Christ has been set forth by evidences. All the things that he is, all the things that he does, he has shown you who he is. And now, what do? Go back to chapter 1. Take a look at this. And Paul said, verse 6, I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel. Now, if he's been set forth evidently to show us who he is and what he did, and he came to help the poor, he came to bless, he came to deal with those who were sick, he came to do all these things to show us who he is, and now we've turned away from that, and we say, well, all people aren't important. These people can be shot without any punitive. They don't have to be punished for it. you can just shoot him down. You can just wrestle him to the ground and shoot him. You can shoot him right inside of his car with his girlfriend sitting there, and he's telling you, I'm reaching for my wallet. I have a license to carry. And you freak out because you've been bewitched to think that he's going to do something to you, and that is not the case. So now you take him out. So then you have somebody who's been bewitched either by the system or his own hatred, and now he's killing policemen. The whole thing is a system of bewitchment. He said, I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Christ. The gospel of Christ is about bringing life, order, blessings to other people's lives. But instead we get on TV now and we will not say a thing about evil that's going on in the nation because we benefit from folk who live in the nation who like the little innocuous stuff that we say. Because we're not telling them. Listen, this stuff would stop overnight if the church, we all decided, here are the major problems. Get the emails out to all the churches. We need to be praying and fasting about this. Nation would change overnight. But ain't going to do it. Ain't going to do that. Because we got to satisfy our constituency, and our constituency and our church don't like black folk. Then we got to satisfy our constituency because our constituency is mad with white folk. And then we believe that our church can be totally gay. We don't believe that there can be any gays in it at all. We don't believe that women can have a place of authority in the church. We believe that women can run everything. So now we're at odds because we can't agree on the one being that put us together, Jesus Christ. What did the Christ say? That's what we need to understand. What did he say? And he said, this is what they've done. They will pervert the gospel. But though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. So now, Paul said, this is how Jesus is. He heals the sick, he raises the dead, he blesses the poor, he looks out for folk, he looks out for the underprivileged. So he said, anybody that will not preach that is accursed. What about America? Are we preaching what Jesus preached?